car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Yes, indeed. We will shortly be joining Ivan Streckel, the owner of Frontier Motors, better known as Low Overhead Country. He is ready, willing, and certainly more than able to take any phone inquiries from you. Were you to call 478-3116, you would be connected by him. Why would you do that? Perhaps to get the price of a car or a truck or an SUV that you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in. 478-3116. Good morning, Mr. Streckel.
Hey, Don, thanks so much for the introduction. Here we go again. Doing a live talk radio show, 1370 AM Talk Radio. We've been doing this going on 20 years now. We're also videotaping this for our Blab TV customers, so this will be on cable and on satellite. So if you're watching this right now, this probably is not a live show. If you're listening to this, it probably is a live show. And the reason you might want to join us is to get a value on your vehicle. So if you're thinking of buying or selling a vehicle, it would be nice to know what I would consider the real value to be. Now, I know you can get on the computer and you get on your little smartphone and you can Google used car values and you can see an Edmunds and a Kelley Blue Book and a consumer's version of the NEDA. Well, we don't use those values in our marketplace. We use what I consider the real values, and that's what's going on at the auctions. And there is a auction in here on W Street, which is called the Mannheim auction. And Mannheim is the largest auction chain in the world, and there's also the second largest Mannheim auction is in Orlando. We have a buyer there every week. I can get into the auctions. It'll tell me exactly what a vehicle is selling for at the auction. Of course, if I know what I can buy one for, I also can let you know what I would buy yours for, and then if I put a small profit on that, what that car would sell for. The books that we use in our area are the Black Wholesale Guidebooks, and the Black books have been out since I was a wee little tiny boy. I remember seeing these on the salesman's desk years ago when I was 15 years old, and these are the books that normally the car dealerships don't want to show you because this is what's going on at the auctions. They still put it in print. Of course, I'm just using this right here to show people because we don't actually even subscribe to the book anymore. Everything is on computer these days or on the smart pad. The other thing that we have is the NEDA guidebook, and this guidebook is a little bit different than what you get on the internet. This is the one that the bankers and the credit unions and a lot of our insurance agencies use as far as replacement value or how much they would finance on a particular car for. And of course, that's very important. If a banker says that they'll finance $23,000, they might also tell a customer, well, that's what the car is worth, even though a lot of times the book value has nothing to do with what the real value is. And that's where we come in. And that's why you might want to find out what the real value is by dialing 478-3116. That's 478-3116. The other thing we can help you with, if you're not looking for value on your trade-in or the car that you're driving, is we also subscribe to the new car cost guidebooks. And what these are books that give me the invoice price of any car out there. And if you know what the invoice is, as a matter of fact, when you look at Consumers Reports sells invoices to the general public, and normally on the second to last page, they have a little section where they say, well, we will sell you an invoice. It's about $15 for an invoice from Consumers Reports, and the reason they sell you the invoice because they feel that if you are armed with the dealer cost, you might be better at getting a better deal based on your negotiating powers if you know what the dealer paid. Sometimes it's kind of shocking how small the markups are in some of the vehicles. And I'll give you an example. I've got the page open to a 15 F-150 right now, and the base price of a regular cab XL, which is their cheapest model, the retail price is $25,400 and the invoice is $23,500. So there's only about a $1,900 markup between the asking price and the dealer cost. If you know that, it might help you save some time so you don't sit there and make ridiculous offers that are never going to happen. And if you know what to go in and pay for a vehicle, it makes that time a lot more valuable because it shortens up the time that it takes to negotiate. Really a good idea to stop in at Frontier Motors to get a second opinion on what your car should be assessed for if you are going to trade it. So let's just say that hypothetically you're going to go to World Ford, which is our local Ford dealership over here on 29. And of course, the F-150, if you don't know it already, is the number one selling vehicle in the world. If you might not even know that, but last year they sold 780,000 F-150s. That's more than Camrys. The Camry used to be the number one selling car. Well, Camry's all the way down to 429,000 sales. So the F-150, not quite, but almost doubled the sales of the Camry. The top three vehicles sold in the United States last year, number one was a Ford pickup truck, then a Chevy Silverado pickup truck, and then a Ram pickup truck. So the top three vehicles were all gas guzzler pickup trucks, kind of interesting. And the more economy-friendly vehicles were quite a bit lower than that. The Camry was number 4. The Corolla was number 5. The Accord was number 6. The Honda CR-V was number 7. The Honda Civic, then the Altima, and then the Toyota RAV4. So they were all imports other than the three pickup trucks, number 1, 2, and 3. But let's say that you were going to go to World Ford and buy a brand new pickup truck. And of course, I always ask the people in the Pensacola area to patronize our local dealer if they're going to buy new. But wouldn't it be nice to know if that you're trading a 5-year-old Ford F-150, what the value of that F-150 would be to Frontier Motors, even though you might decide to buy a brand new one? And if anything, I would think that the Ford store, if you're buying a brand new Ford, would give you more than we would give you based on the fact you're not buying from us if you decided to buy brand new. So if I appraise your vehicle for $15,000 and they appraise your vehicle for $13,000, well, it's kind of a no-brainer. Now, what you could do if you wanted to, you could actually trade it in at their dealership, and then I could buy it directly from the dealership. So therefore, you get a little bit of a tax credit. If you don't know how that works on the taxes, that in the state of Florida, you only get taxed on the balance. So if you have a trade-in, if your balance, let's say you're looking at a $30,000 vehicle, and you have a $15,000 trade-in, while the balance is now $15,000 plus the taxes on $15,000. If you don't have a trade-in, the vehicle's $30,000, you have to pay taxes on $30,000. And that's where we come in. We try to give you the best of both worlds, where you can get the higher figure that we're appraising the vehicle for, but still trade it in and get the tax credit. And that's what it's all about, is helping the people in the Pensacola area, making sure that they can get a really good deal, even if they're buying from Frontier Motors or someplace else. Don, do we have a call?
No.
Okay, good. That way I can talk a little bit more. I'm really good at that. Half an hour doesn't do this show any justice. I've got a lot of things to cover. We talked about a little bit about what's going on in the car industries as far as the sales are concerned. The other thing that we talk about a little bit is Consumers Reports. Last month came out with a new program on Road Report, I guess is what it's called, is how the brands stack up. And they have a reliability report that came out last month. Actually, this isn't December's edition, so it's 2 months old now. So the most reliable vehicle, you're probably not going to see this on TV. I'm just going to hold up for a second so you know I'm not making this up. The most reliable vehicle is a vehicle that I love to sell, and that is the Lexus product. The number one vehicle is a Lexus, and number two, the most reliable vehicle is their cousin, which is the Toyota. And if most people know that Lexus is the Highline model of Toyota, just like Acura is the Highline model of Honda, and Infiniti is the Highline model of Nissan, and now Genesis, the new Genesis, is the Highline model of Hyundai. So the Toyota is number one and number two because they own Lexus. And the number 3 one was kind of a sleeper in my book, and that's Audi. Audi was the third most reliable brand out there. And Audis, the older Audis, the ones that are 10 years old and maybe 11 years old, I haven't had the best luck with. I'm an Audi fan. I like the way they look. I like the way they drive. I've never been an Audi a fan of their reliability. But if you buy one that's 3 years old or newer, Consumers Report says that it is right up there with Lexus and Toyota. Number 4 is one that took me by surprise, and that is Mazda. Mazda is the number 4 the number 4 vehicle out there as far as reliability. Don, do we have a call?
This is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for calling the Frontier Motor Show. How can we help you?
Morning, guys. Love the show.
Thank you.
I was wanting to get a value on my pickup truck. I'm thinking about trading in for a new one.
Okay.
I have a 2014 F-150 XLT Super Crew.
All right. Let me get to that section there, Jeff, before we rattle everything all off here. So it's a Super Crew 150, and you said it was an XLT.
Yes, sir.
And is it a 4-wheel drive or a 2-wheel drive XLT?
4-wheel drive.
Okay, so Super Crew, so four full doors, and it is an F-150 XLT. Hold on, let me get past Platinum here. Here we go. And how many miles are on it is the next question.
25,100.
Okay, so you got pretty low miles on it. That's going to be a very desirable vehicle. There's a couple of ads that they have. Jeff, one of the ads that they have is if you have a power seat, do you have an electric seat?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm assuming you got a trailer hitch. They all do. And
Yes.
The other thing they add for if you have a full fiberglass cap or camper shell on the back.
No.
Or a bed liner.
Yes.
And do you have the 5-liter motor or do you have the 3.5 EcoBoost?
5-liter.
Okay. And on the NADA, that's all they're going to ask you about. They do have an off-road package, the FX4 off-road package. Do you have that?
No, I do not.
Okay. And how about leather interior?
No.
Okay. All right, so here we go. Jeff, you got a pretty good retail on it. Sometimes the retail is a little bit exaggerated, but I'll give you full retail is $32,875. It's rounded off at $32,900 is retail. The wholesale value, which is loan value, is $26,700. So you got a pretty good spread. You got about a $4,000 spread from the high to the low. If this was a vehicle that you were going to go, and let's use Ford, for example, Jeff. Let's say you're going to go to World Ford or the dealer of your choice and make the best possible deal on a 16 model. I'm just saying this hypothetically. Let's say they knock off a couple of thousand, give you a rebate, and you're happy with the price, and then you toss them the keys for yours. They should be somewhere at that $27,500 wholesale range. $27,500 to $28,000 wholesale is what they should be putting into your car in real money, not in trade-in value, because the trade-in value is off of the retail price of whatever you're buying. So you want to make sure that you don't get taken by having them give you a big trade-in value off the list price. What you want is you want to get a fair deal on whatever you're buying. Let's say you stop at a Frontier Motors and we give you a price on a 16 used one, hypothetically, and then you throw me keys for yours. I'm going to be appraising it somewhere between that 27 and 28 range. The retail price, as far as if you sell it yourself, figure a couple $1,000s more. So let's say I say 28, that thing is going to sell for somewhere around that $30,000 mark. Full retail is 32, but most people aren't going to want to pay full retail. What are you thinking of replacing it with, Jeff, or why do you want to know?
Well, I just really like the new Fords.
Okay.
Good looking truck. So.
Yeah, they did a good job. They did a good job with the new aluminum body style, and they seem to be selling like hotcakes. They're still the number one selling vehicle in the world. And I would be very interested in giving you a buy bid on yours. So if you have any time at all to pop on into Frontier Motors, it takes me 15 minutes to give you a figure on your vehicle. So it'd be a good thing for you to know, like we were talking about right before you called, that if you are going to buy a brand new one, let's say you're going to go to World Ford and they got what you want, or let's say you ordered out, you can bring the vehicle to me. I'll appraise it. You don't have to tell them the appraisal, but once they come back and tell you, here's what I'll give you, well, obviously, if it's more than what I'm telling you, you've made yourself a good deal. But if it's less than what I'm telling you, then you might want to say, well, I was at Frontier Motors and they said they gave me this, and I'm not even buying nothing from them. So it might help you make sure that used car manager gives you the right proper value on yours.
Okay, great.
Right.
I'll think about that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. 27%. And that's why not take a look at a car that even is less than 1 year old? And I'll give you an example, folks, that if you want to go up to Hill Kelly and look at a brand new Dodge Caravan, that is our local dealer that sells Caravans. I would definitely say if you're going to buy a brand new one, buy it from them. They're right on 29. They can service you right there. But what you want to do is look at Frontier Motors. I've got a 16 on the lot. It has 150 miles on it. That's pretty new. Some of their cars have more than 150 miles on it if it's a dealer swap. Sometimes, somebody wants a car out of Atlanta, so they drive it up there and drive it back. Now it's going to have 400 miles on it, right, even though it's considered brand new because it hasn't been titled. Mine is considered used because I have to sell it as a titled vehicle. And the reason is because I don't have a Dodge franchise. Hill Kelly's got the franchise.
You're not a new car dealer.
I'm not a new car dealer. I can't sell that vehicle. I can't tell you, hey, that car's like brand new. I can tell you it's like brand new.
Right.
I just can't tell you it's brand new. Legally, because it's not brand new. I sell used cars. But that's pretty darn new, a 16. Now, if my price was the same as Hill Kelly, You buy it from them. Even if I save you $1,000, I'd still buy the brand new one because mine might be 4 months old, which means you lose 4 months to the warranty. You still get the full factory warranty except for the 4 months. Where you buy a brand new, you get 36 months on it. On mine, you'd get 32 months. So if it's a little bit more, I would buy the new one. But what if I saved you $4,000 on a car that has 151 miles on? Some people would take the $4,000.
And if you would like to get more information about this or any other automobile, a couple of ways to do that. Of course, you can go to their website, Frontier Motors. Just put that into your server and into your browser, and I'm sure you'll find it. Or you can give us a call. We got 15 minutes left here today on News Talk 1370 WCOA as we continue with this edition of Talk at 10. It's the Frontier Motors Show, 478-3116, and I will connect you with Ivan Streckel.
If you're going to buy a brand new Civic, you go to Pensacola Honda right up here on 29. I've got a Civic on the lot that's got 1,000 miles on it, so you want to compare it to a brand new one, see how much we can save you. If you're going to go look at a brand new Nissan, Sandy Sansing sells new Nissans. I've got a Nissan Quest on the lot that's got 1,100 miles on it. Also have a Nissan Versa, which is their small gas miser type car. It's a hatchback. It's got 500 miles on it. If you're going to look at a Mazda, I think, who's got the Mazda? Yeah, I think that's Sandy Sansing also. And we have a Miata on the lot, a hardtop Miata. That's got 1,800 miles on it. We have a Hyundai. Alan Turner is the Hyundai dealer. We have a 16 Hyundai Elantra on the lot with 1,900 miles on it, and also a 16 Hyundai Accent with 2,000 miles on it. If you're going to buy a Range Rover, we've got an Evoque. If you don't know what that is, that's their little sporty job. It's kind of real cool looking. I've got a white one. I've got it's called Pure Plus, which is their credentials for navigation and sunroof and leather interior. I've got one with 2,000 miles on it that's going to save you about $9,000 off the price of a new one. Folks, I can go on and on and on. We've got about 370 cars in inventory. About 150 of those are cars that are less than 1.5 years old. That's going to save you tons of money over a brand new one. The rest of them are vehicles that we've taken in trade on these newer type cars. So don't think just because we are the alternative to new that all the vehicles that we have in inventory have a couple of thousand miles on it. We do have a lot of them that are like that, but because we stock that type of vehicle, we also get a lot of trade-ins that have a lot of life left in them that can be sold anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000. We normally have between 50 and 60 vehicles on the lot that are less than $10,000. So we do have vehicles that are less expensive that still have a great reliability. And another thing that you get at Frontier Motors, folks, that you're not going to get at most dealerships is that our used car warranty is actually better than a lot of new car warranties. And I'll give you an example of that. A Ford drivetrain warranty. If you buy a brand new Ford, a drivetrain warranty goes to 60,000 miles. Our drivetrain warranty on our vehicles go up 100,000 miles on top of the mileage that's on there. So let's say hypothetically that you were buying that. Let's say Jeff trades his vehicle into us. Jeff was the caller that had the 14 F-150. If I buy that vehicle from him, when I sell it to you as a customer, I'm going to give you a 5-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty, and that is going to start from the day that you buy it from me. So Jeff's vehicle had 25,000 miles on it. So when you buy it from me, you're actually going to get a warranty up to 125,000 miles. That's without paying for an extended warranty. Now, that's the drivetrain, which is the engine, the transaxle, the differential, and the transmission. And that is a great incentive for you not to have to worry about something major going wrong with the vehicle as long as if it's a 2008 model or newer. And folks, if you go to a used car dealership and they mark the box as is, that's the first thing I would look at. And if they won't even stand behind their vehicles for 3 months, I'd get the heck out of there. Any vehicle that's 15 years old or newer at Frontier Motors and has less than 150,000 miles on it gets a 3-month, 3,000-mile drivetrain warranty. So you're rest assured that we're not passing off a vehicle that's got a bad motor or a bad transmission, because if something did happen, you'd be covered for at least 3 months. And I'm assuming if something's wrong with it, it's going to break within 3 months of ownership, or it's just a freak thing. Anything can break, of course, and we try to do the best we can that when we put a vehicle on the road, that's going to be a great vehicle. I got off the subject when Jeff called as far as reliability, and we talked about the top 3 or the top 4 being Mazda, Audi, Toyota, and Lexus. Folks, look at that new Mazda. Sandy Stansing sells new Mazdas. They are phenomenal for reliability. You might not think that. They're actually rated above Honda and above BMW and Porsche and Nissan for reliability. That's a Mazda. They don't have as good a resale value, so I can buy a Mazda pretty darn cheap, sell it for a profit to you, and still beat everybody else by thousands of dollars and get a reliable vehicle that, don't forget, we put a 100,000-mile warranty on it. Number 6 was Kia. People still think, I had a customer the other day, and they were looking at a Highline product, and I told them, how about a Kia Cadenza, which is one of their nicest cars, and the customer says, I wouldn't buy a Kia if you gave it to me. And I'm like, why do you have that attitude? Well, because 20 years ago, Kia was not a very good car. But right now, Kia is number 6 for the most reliable vehicle sold in the United States. Buick is the only one that made the top 7. Now, Buick is sold by Vince Wibbs, and Buick is the only domestic that made the most reliable stack. Now, the second stack is reliable. The first ones I just talked about is most reliable. The second one is reliable. Honda, Hyundai, Mini Cooper, BMW, Volvo, Volkswagen, Porsche, Nissan are in the reliable category. And then you have the least reliable, which I don't like to dwell on, because being an independent dealer, we sell all makes and models. And I'll give you an example. One of the ones that are not that reliable is an Infiniti. I have a customer looking for a QX60, and I noticed that they say that the least reliable Infiniti is the QX60. The reason I can mention this is because I don't have one on the lot right now, so that's a good thing. But what I'm getting at is that they're not all unreliable, but they're saying on the average that would be one vehicle that you might stay away from. Doesn't mean you have to stay away from the whole Infiniti brand, but that particular one is not the most reliable. Now, the advantage of being an independent used car dealer, of course, is that because we sell all makes and models, I really don't have to sell you a vehicle. In other words, when you come on the lot and you say, well, I really don't like Fords, I don't take that personally. And now if I was a Ford dealership, I'd be pretty upset, because that's how I make my living, and I would give you all kinds of reasons why Ford is a really good vehicle to have. But if you don't like Fords, I'm okay with that, because we sell the Chevy product, and vice versa. If you don't like the Chevrolet, it doesn't matter to me. I can sell you a Ford, or I can sell you a Chrysler or a Dodge, because we have them all lined up. So you're not sold into one particular brand. And that's what happens when you go to an Acura dealership. What are they going to sell you? They're going to sell you and tell you why the Acura is the best vehicle that you could ever possibly buy. And then you go across the street to the Lexus dealership. Well, they have all kinds of things in writing, like I've got right here, why Lexus is the best vehicle to get. And then, of course, heaven forbid, you might go to the BMW dealership, and that salesman's been 5 months of training school to tell you why the BMW is the best vehicle ever sold on the face of the earth. Well, guess what? At Frontier Motors, we sell them all. So that way, you don't really have to take our word for it. We hand you the keys, you test drive it, and you decide which one you like best. And that would be completely up to you which one you like. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting in the vehicle. If you don't like the way it feels, you're not going to buy it. So our salespeople unlock every single car, 370 of them every morning, so that if you have a lunch hour, you don't have to wait for a salesman to run back and forth and get keys for 10 different vehicles. If you're looking at 10 different midsize SUVs, then that's what you're going to do, and it takes a lot of time. So we unlock them because we know that in a matter of minutes, if you can't get that steering wheel adjusted or you can't see over the dashboard, you're not going to buy it. So we make it as easy as possible to make sure that you can sit in the vehicles and cross it off your list if it doesn't work. Then if you want to take it for a test drive, the next thing we do, folks, is we tell you what the price is, because that's always a contention. People always get nervous when they buy a vehicle. And for most people, they're buying a vehicle, a car, is the second largest purchase they're ever going to make in their life other than perhaps a home. So it's a big deal. And we want to make sure that we take the nervousness out of that by giving you a price. Number one, we can give you a price list right off the bat, so you know at least what range it's in. If you've got your kitchen budget put together and you've decided that you can afford up to a $20,000 car, well, we certainly don't want to show you a $40,000 vehicle if you've budgeted $20,000. But sometimes I can get people to adjust their thinking if they like something a little better, especially if they keep their vehicle a long, long time. You do not want to make a mistake. Some people ask, well, how do you get these vehicles with low miles on them? Well, a lot of them are mistakes that people made by making a decision too quickly, too hastily, and getting excited about that brand new car, and then they don't like it, or they find out the insurance is too much, or they find out the back seat is too cramped, or the trunk is too small, or they find out they're having triplets, and that little two-door Civic with a small back seat isn't going to work for them. And next thing you know, that vehicle is on Frontier Motors' lot at a heavily depreciated price that saves you $1,000, but you're taking advantage of the person that bought that car first. And that's one of the things that we want to do, is make sure that you're not the one spending that new car dollar. Have somebody in Atlanta or Orlando do that. Let them make the mistake. Let me buy that from that person, bring it back here, put a small profit on it so I can stay in business and still save you thousands of dollars over brand new one. Like we talked earlier in the show, that Consumers Report says the first year depreciation is $9,200. Well, even if I mark that vehicle up $3,000, you still save $6,200. If I marked it up $2,000, you save $7,200. And guess what? If the vehicle is $7,200 less, you also save 7% on taxes of $7,200, which is about another $500 in savings. Our fees that we charge are normally between $200 and $300 less than what the other dealers charge. And normally, we're able to pay more money for the trade-in than the other dealers. So therefore, that $7,000 savings could now amount or equate to about a $10,000 savings overall on that car that might be 1 year old. And within minutes, we can tell you what that savings is going to be. And if the savings is not enough, we're the first ones to throw in the towel and say, hey, if I were you, go buy the brand new one. Somebody's got to buy the brand new one. I just don't want it to be you. They sold 17.5 million new cars last year. So 17.5 million people, I feel, made a mistake. I shouldn't say that. I think it's great that people are buying new cars, because if somebody didn't buy a new car, Frontier Motors would be out of business and lickety split, because I don't sell new cars. Somebody's got to buy them. I just don't want it to be you. I want you to take advantage of the savings. Frontier Motors is going on 20 years in business. We're located at 230 Beverly Parkway. We've got a great website. You don't have to remember the address. Just Google Frontier Motors. We're the first one that pops up. We've got between 350 and 370 vehicles in stock at all times. There will be 31 detailed photographs of every vehicle. They all have prices on there. So if you're wondering how much are they asking, or what's the discounted price, we have the discounted price on the internet. If there's anything left that I can knock off of there, just give us a text or give us an email, and I'll let you know if that's the best price, or if I've got a little bit of leeway left to go. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, and also subscribe to us on YouTube, or vice versa, either one. We've got a great Facebook site that we put some of the new cars on, tell you what's going on in the industry. And this show that now that you're watching or listening to, you can just Google Frontier Motors on YouTube, and we're going to come up. It's a half-hour show, so if you want someone else to talk about what I'm talking about, come and see Frontier Motors. We've only got a minute left, and just want to remind everybody right now that don't buy new. Buy one that's just a little bit used. That's Frontier Motors. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.